Death and resurrection is a common theme in Jewish apocalyptic literature. So there are many, and these are for the most part, like the book of Revelation, which is the last book of the Bible that is in the Greek scriptures. That makes the cut. That's canonical. That has these same apocalyptic themes that are there, but most of these are not canonical. So the Apocalypse of Baruch, also called Second Baruch, is an example. Or Second Esdras, also called Fourth Ezra, also called Latin Ezra, is an example. The book of Daniel, another canonical one. The book of Daniel is an example. In this Jewish apocalyptic literature, the end time, the coming end time, the end of the ages, when God will establish God's kingdom here, the Messianic age also, that's so the coming of God's kingdom, the Messianic age, the end times, the eschaton, these are all moving together. They're conceptually related. And death and resurrection is a significant feature there. And so where does this come from? Well, it comes out of an oppressed people's lived experience. Imagine the first century, the gospel writers. You're living under militarized Roman occupation. Rome rules through military might. The gospel writers are writing after the destruction of the temple in 70 of the Common Era. That is the most significant centerpiece of life in Jerusalem, in all of Judea, and Rome burns it to the ground over a 3-year Jewish war in 70 of the Common Era. That came with the slaughtering of tens of thousands of people. So if you are an oppressed people who just had their most significant feature in the world, God's seat on earth, the temple in Jerusalem, burned to the ground, tens of thousands of your family and friends slaughtered, you think about your relationship with the Holy One. And this, Jewish apocalyptic literature is talking about their covenant with God that is supposed to be an eternal covenant that if you follow the commandments, God will provide for you. Well, if you're being slaughtered, similar to the Babylonian exile 500 years earlier, where everybody in Jerusalem, the aristocracy was either murdered or carried off into exile. And there was a small group that remained in Jerusalem, but a lot of people off into exile. Similar covenantal crises here. You're following the commandments, you're supposed to be provided for, and yet the world is falling apart around you. So if your covenant says, do good, follow the commandments, you'll be taken care of, you begin to ask, well, when will we be taken care of? And an answer for that may be, well, in the end time, in the coming Messianic age. That is what the eschaton is about. That's what the Messianic age is about, is finally, we Jewish people have been living under occupation, under oppression. Remember, for all of the people of Israel's existence, very, 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 very few periods of autonomous rule. This is an oppressed people, more used to being a vassal state to other larger empires, or exiled, or slaughtered, or destroyed, or assimilating in order to avoid destruction. This is the lived experience of the people of Israel. That just is the case. Not 1947 and on Israel. I'm talking about, or 48 and on Israel. I'm talking about the tradition of Israel as reflected through the scriptures of Israel. And so you're wondering, when will you get your reward? Well, it will be in the end time. It will be in the coming Messianic age. And we want to be around for that. When our evildoers finally get what's coming to them, and we get the reward of living in alignment with the covenant. The idea of resurrection is like, man, what about all the really good people that died before the Messianic age? They don't want to miss out, do they? So then you get ideas of resurrection, that God will bring back the saints who have died, right? As Paul talks about it, that people will come back so they can participate in the Messianic age. And so I think that's useful. And I think the way that may make some sense today is to say, well, if you are somebody who purportedly follows Jesus, or, for Jews that we're still reading Torah, the idea is that, are we continuing to work towards the liberation of people who are oppressed? Because death and resurrection, whether in the world such a thing could even ever actually happen, whether in the 21st century maybe you are ridiculous or a fool for thinking that there will ever be a resurrection. But the idea that when oppressed, when marginalized, when under occupation, that maybe there will be a coming age when all will be liberated, when everyone will be reconciled to the God that you follow. There will be peace and nonviolence, and the lion will lie down with the lamb. That is the hope for the future. And so, as ridiculous and outrageous as it could seem that there would be a resurrection, the root idea thinking there is about a cosmic and eternal justice. Death and resurrection is a middle finger to the local powers and principalities that are oppressing us. It is an answer to oppression. That's what the Messianic age is. That's what death and resurrection is. So I know it sounds ridiculous. I understand that. Back to the original video. I get why you would be like, oh, so you believe in zombies. But see, that's the wrong read, because it's not about the resurrection. What it is about is a Messianic age, liberation, peace, nonviolence, cosmic justice. That's what it's about. Just the means by which that is imagined to take place is through death and resurrection. Maybe that's helpful. Maybe I said too much. Either way, much love. Peace.